Hey everyone, I've got an especially juicy story for us today. But listen, this is a little experiment I'm doing with these videos before we get into it. If you like what I'm doing, if you like these videos I'm posting talking about different news stories about work, please like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. That'll let me know that I'm doing things that you like and appreciate, and maybe I'll keep on doing them if you do that. All right, but let's dig into it. Listen, normally I don't get stuff from local news sources, simply there's just too many of them out there, but I was sent this article by someone who interned for me, actually in my first job ever out of college, which was I worked for a university. We're going to know why that's important in a second. I had this great intern. We've kept in touch ever since, and a couple days ago he forwarded this article onto me, and I had to do a video on it because it's really juicy, gossipy stuff. 3 senior level staffers out at Harford Community College for improperly speculating about other employees. What's going on there? 3 senior level administrators no longer work at Harford Community College after using official email accounts to speculate about the employment status of lower level employees at the institution amidst an era of unprecedented turnover at the institution. Can anyone just merit a guess about why there might be unprecedented turnover at the institution? Could it be because the economy is really good and it's a job seekers market? Listen, I'm sure for a while, and I'm sure they'll probably cover some of this in the article, but I'm sure for a while they made excuses. They were like, oh, we're a community college, we don't pay that much, they can make more money elsewhere, that's why they're leaving. But listen, no. That's almost never the case. All those excuses that executives make about why people leave, it's almost always dismissing larger issues, and it seems as though the fine folks at Harford Community College uncovered what some of those issues were. The Cecil-Whig and the Bargainer have obtained a recent email from HCC president to HCC employees confirming that administrators were let go. Reporters also obtained a copy of the email between administrators that clearly showcased what former employees called a hit list. Documents show those staffers were the Senior Associate Vice President for Administration, the Director of Finance, and the VP of Marketing Development and Community Relations. On Friday, January 3rd, I learned of an incident involving 3 senior-level administrators who made improper use of their official college email accounts to speculate on the employment status of various Harford Community College employees. Okay, hang on. This is not about improper use of an email account. This is about inappropriately speculating about the employment status of employees as senior leaders in the organization. I mean, come on, man. Why are you making this about the use of an email account? It has nothing to do with that. I immediately launched an investigation, which has now concluded. Effective immediately, these administrators no longer work at the college. Good, but you still shouldn't be saying that they improperly use their email accounts as the reason. The detail of their separations are a personal matter. It's not actually a personal matter when they're being paid by public money, right? Community colleges are public institutions. Public money goes into funding these things. I'm sorry, this is not a private personal matter. They are doing this at a public institution. That's just my opinion. I don't know what the legality is behind that, but that to me does not seem to be a personal matter. Maybe I'm taking this a little too personally. I don't know. Phillips went on to say that HCC expects all employees, particularly our leaders, to hold themselves to the highest level of personal and professional integrity. Well, if there's record-setting turnover at your institution, that is obviously not happening. Things you can't believe you have to say out loud. We do not condone behavior that conflicts with the college's values, the email read. As the anchor institution for higher education in Harford County, we take seriously our mission to foster growth and achievement among our students, our employees, our community. We look forward to continuing and building upon the important work, blah, 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 PRBS. Reporters called several departments, including human resources. Calls were not returned at the time of press. Let's see about their working environment. Former employees and others believe the administrative leadership has given way to a hostile work environment, as well as unwise expenditures and unethical behavior. You think? You think? Come on. I would have come forward about this sooner, but I was afraid to lose my job. Carol Ann, former HCC director for the library, told The Wig about the working conditions at HCC. Allen says she retired 3 years earlier than planned because she just couldn't take it there anymore. This isn't just some funny game. She also expressed concern about the power dynamic of senior administrators speculating in what she called an alleged betting pool. The HCC Department of Human Resources reports to Katie Callan. Both she and Miss Morrison have a great deal of influence regarding the employment of everyone whose name is on that list. Was Katie Callan one of the people that was fired? Yes, Katie Callan is the VP, the Associate VP for Administration. So that makes sense that someone would not want to go against her because they'd probably lose their job. That's crazy town. Well, it is not clear that Dr. Phillips personally knew about this betting pool. Come on, we'll come back to that one. Both Miss Morrison and Miss Callan reported to her. The situation suggests an extremely callous attitude towards the massive turnover. I know that all these people whose names are on the list who have already left the college did so only after experiencing great pain and stress trying to survive in a dangerously toxic work setting. That does not surprise me at all. Ellen said that she, among other former employees and faculty group, reached out to the Board of Trustees several times for a special meeting to address those issues, but said requests had been denied each time. Isn't that nice, Board of Trustees? The Board of Trustees held a special meeting last week. I bet they did. Where they held a closed session to address a personnel matter. Soon after, the senior staffers were announced to staff in an email obtained as WIG as no longer employed by the college. Let's go back and take a look at this email. Brenda, Beth and I both owe you a drink for winning the contest. A screenshot of a July 2019 email among 3 former HCC senior administrators showing a speculative chart for employee turnover. Now, okay, can we talk about, this is like brazenly unethical behavior for the person who Human Resources reports to, which appears to be Katie Callan, the author of the email, to be holding a betting pool about who is going to leave or the employee status. I guess we don't really know what the intricate nature of the betting pool was in this, but this whole thing is just mind-blowing to me. Now, listen, I have a history with higher education. My first job ever out of college was in higher education. I worked in an admissions office. I then went to a different college, worked in their marketing and development office, went to a different college after that, worked in the marketing and development office there. Like, none of this surprises me. Higher education is a very, very, very toxic place to work. It's a toxic type of culture to work in. And the evidence I'm going to present for that is that workplace bullying actually takes place at about double the normal rate at institutions of higher education. So in the average workplace bullying happens around 30%. Like 30% of people experience workplace bullying. In higher education environments, it's 62%. 62%. So double, even a little more than double what the average is. So this is no joke. I'm kind of making light of this because it's a little bit of a juicy story. But listen, this type of nonsense, it starts at the top. I don't believe for one red second. This is just my instinct. I am purely speculating here. But I do not believe for one red second that the president did not know this was happening. Don't believe it for 1 minute. Like, there must have been some inkling. It's not as though, like, your cabinet, your senior level administrators, if they're engaging in this type of nonsense, it's not as though you're not going to get a peep of it. Please, come on. And here's the thing, I'm gonna get serious for a second. So if you've seen any content from me, a line you've probably heard me say is, the world is a perfect place. It may not seem it from this story, but bear with me. The world is a perfect place. It's not perfect in that we get everything we want the minute we want it, but it is perfect in that we get exactly what we should expect to get based on our contribution to the situation. So if you're contributing in a way that it should equal a positive outcome, you're likely to get a positive outcome. If you're contributing in a way that just common sense would tell you is going to lead to a negative outcome, you should expect to get a negative outcome because that's the contribution you're making. Now, most of the time when I say this, people kind of dismiss it because people are very prone to assume that they're always contributing to their situation in a very positive way. But this is such a brilliant example of what happens when you contribute negatively. If you are actively, as a senior level executive, taking part in a betting pool about the employment status of lower level employees, then what do you expect to come from that? There is absolutely no way that this is going to result in anything good. It's not going to result in anything good for you. It's not going to result in anything good for your organization. It's certainly not going to result in anything good for the people that you are responsible for. I mean, come on, man. Nothing pisses me off more than when people who accept senior leadership positions do not step up to the plate and take responsibility for what they've accepted, what they've taken on. This is not just about having the fancy title or the higher salary or the prominent position on campus or in your organization or wherever. When you take on these senior leadership roles, or frankly, even any manager role that involves managing people, when you take these things on, you're responsible for people's lives. You are responsible for where they are spending the majority of their waking hours during the week. And in this case, we can see that the administration at this organization created an incredibly toxic working environment. I'm sure we're getting one small tidbit. I guarantee you, one small tidbit in this story of what's going on at this college. I mean, listen, the director of the library is in a very specific silo in a college, right? They're not really interacting as much with other departments, other organizations. And so if the director of the library, of all things, is feeling the toxicity to the point where they retire early because they just couldn't take it anymore, this is about more than a betting pool. This is about the culture of the organization. And when you're at the top, you set the tone. And I'm going to place the blame. Listen, the president should lose their job. It's a woman, I think. The president should lose her job. Yeah, Diana Phillips absolutely should be out. In fact, the whole senior leadership should probably be cleaned out of this college and starting afresh. Because listen, you can't screw around with stuff like this. Education is important. I worked in higher education for 10 years because I believed on the impact that it had in society. This is important. And I think it's especially important at places like community colleges that give opportunities to people who wouldn't have them otherwise. These are the communities that need this type of service the absolute most. This is not even just about the employees at this community college feeling good. This is about the service that they are doing in the community. My God. And what other things could be happening at this college? I can't even imagine the nonsense that's going on there and how people have felt for years and years and years working in this environment. So, Board of Trustees at Harford Community College, if I were you, I'd clean house, bring in a young leader with a good vibe that hasn't been sullied by working in higher education all of their lives. Let them build something from the ground up, because this nonsense, at this point, I'm betting this has been going on for years. This is institutionally ingrained, and it's not going to stop until you clear out all the muck and start over again. That's a big pill to swallow. But Jesus Christ, they're having betting pools about, I mean, come on. I find this incredibly personally offensive. Very, very offensive. So, we joke about it, it is a little juicy piece of gossip and all that, but really anyone that has ever worked in a toxic working environment, to have something this overt, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'll be interested to see what they do. I'm going to keep an eye on this story, and there should be more information coming out, and we'll see what happens.